it's Vicki Jessing again, alcohol ink artist from Surprise, Arizona, and this is another one of my process videos for one of my paintings. So I just start with a piece of paper. I use ultra bright synthetic paper because it is non-porous, so the inks just stay right on top. They do not sink in, which is what you want when you use alcohol inks. Or maybe it's not. That's what I want when I use alcohol inks. How about that? So I put the inks on the paper with some isopropyl alcohol, and I use my blower tool and sometimes other tools, but this one I think I just use the little blower to push those inks around and come up with a background. Then I look at that background and try to decide what animal or animals are going to look best with that background. I always put an animal into my backgrounds. I like painting animals, so that's kind of my thing. This one, as you can see, it's going to be penguins. When I made this, when I painted it, I had just gotten back from a trip to Denver with some girlfriends, and we went to the Denver Zoo, and the first thing you see is the penguins, and so I had penguins on the brain, and so I think that's kind of what influenced this one. I don't know about just plain black and white. It seems like it. I feel like it's more fun to have more color in the animals, but I don't know. It worked out okay in the end. So I use alcohol ink markers to add color in. So that all that black is in there from the alcohol ink markers. I I didn't use the black alcohol ink from the bottles because it's really hard to control and it just kind of goes everywhere and it's not that dark. And I wanted it to be a lot darker. So I use alcohol ink markers when I add color to my paintings. Then I also use isopropyl alcohol, just regular alcohol, on Q-tips to remove ink from the page. And as you can see, I'm using a paintbrush there with isopropyl alcohol in it as well to move the inks around on the page. Yeah, so my trip to Denver was amazing. If you've never been to Denver, I do suggest you go. We went to Red Rocks and saw a show there, and it was just incredible. We saw Brit Floyd, and I am a big Pink Floyd fan, so Brit Floyd was incredible. I've seen Pink Floyd live, and Brit Floyd, I mean, they're really good. I will say that. And the venue is just incredible. And we also went to Meow Wolf, which is really great and overwhelming, but really cool. And we saw the sights. We went for a drive up in the mountains. I don't know. It's just really cool. Also met a fellow alcohol ink artist up at some little town up in the mountains in Colorado, which was really exciting. And I hope to be able to see her again sometime. It was really cool to talk to her. And yeah, so I feel like I'm just rambling as this video goes on, but you can see that I'm putting in details. I just go slow. I'm not real fast at this. Usually it takes me a few hours, and this is on time lapse. I always film on time lapse because if I don't, the files are so big that it takes forever to transfer them to my computer and then to store them. It's just the files are too big. So I film on time lapse. That's why they're all sped up. And that's just the way it has to be. With this one, when I was done, I kind of didn't love the position of the penguins. I felt like I don't know, it was a little boring. I mean, it's cute and but I felt like I kind of had wished that I had done like something like a penguin swimming or something like that. So maybe I'll do that in another video. But this one's just a sweet, parent and baby penguin. Yeah, so I had to keep adding the black in there because I would push it around with my paintbrush, and it would thin it out, and so it wouldn't get dark enough. And I still could, I think in the end, I still could have added more black and made it darker, but I don't know that it needed it. What else can I tell you? Alcohol ink is super fun, and if you've never tried it before, I would suggest trying it. If you go to epiceartharts.com, that's my online art class and community forum, and it's free to join. And there's some classes on there, and my friend Jessica does some alcohol ink classes, so you can learn a lot about alcohol ink from her. Now, she doesn't do animals like this or use the alcohol ink markers. That's something that I don't know, I guess intuitively did when I was doing my first alcohol ink painting. I just thought, oh, I want more detail and I'm going to use these markers. What I felt like was that I wanted to elevate alcohol ink painting because most people who do alcohol ink, they do abstract. And I did abstract when I was younger, but I like more realism now. And so I thought if I could take these abstract backgrounds and then elevate them by putting in realism, that I thought that would look really cool because a lot of the artists that I like and I follow, that's what they do. They take abstract and then they put realism with it. And so I thought, okay, if I can do that, that would be amazing. And so when I started my first alcohol ink painting and finding out just how the inks work, and with any paint medium, you got to figure it out. You know, there's always that element of figuring things out. And so the paint in the bottles is so runny, it's so hard to control. And so I had done this painting and it was turning out okay, but I couldn't get those really, really fine details that I wanted. And so I just grabbed one of my alcohol ink markers and put in the details and it worked beautifully. And I thought, oh my gosh, I think I have something here. And so I just kind of went on from there. And at some point, I'll make a video of the progression of where I started to where I am now with these paintings. I feel like they just get better and better. I've got a lot more to show you. So like and subscribe, and you can see all the ones that I have. And before this one, I've done a lot of alcohol ink paintings that I didn't record. So I'll show you those too at some point. But this one is almost done. It's, yeah, putting in those fine details with the eyes, making sure we get the highlights in there. That's always really important. You want to get all the highlights in those eyes. And yeah, you want to get all the lights and darks in there. With the penguins, of course, it's all light and dark. So it's just a matter of getting like the fine points, right? So the darks are all dark, but you want the darks darker and the light darks lighter. Yeah. Not as fun as some of the other paintings that I do. Alcohol ink really lends itself to texture, and there wasn't a whole lot of texture to be had in these penguins, but that's okay. I mean, they're all going to be different. They're all going to be fun. Sometimes paintings are going to be a lot more challenging than others. You're going to find that there's some points that are giving you trouble and you rework them and rework them. Sometimes they come together so easily. I've done some of these paintings where I just can't even believe how easy it was and how fast it worked. And then sometimes, oh my gosh, it just takes forever to figure it out. So in this one, the problem I was having was with the bottom here, as you can see. At first I just wanted it to fade into the background, but it just wasn't working. I had to put some kind of bottom on there. So it's always a little bit tricky to mess with the bottom because you don't want to mess with the background too much, but I needed it to be more, I don't know, like textury, like they're standing on snow. And so that's what I did. I just kept working at it until I got it to where I wanted it. And I think in the end, it turned out really well. I think it's super cute and, just a really cute mama and baby. Yeah, I kept looking at it straight on. Okay, so it's done. This one's called Shelter from the Storm. Enjoy.